like to welcome you to Crochet, Knit, and More with Susie. Hey, we're up to episode 9, and this is just going to be a brief video of a knitting magazine that I got. I thought I would share with you. I really recommend this one. I don't usually buy a lot of new books and magazines, but this one I thought was well worth the investment. So without any further ado, I'll give you a little administration information regarding me. I can be found on Instagram under Suzee, SUZEEMAKES 1. Ravelry under SuzieQ57, that's SUSIEQ57. And I have a podcast group under Ravelry for this called Crochet, Knit, and More with Suzee, and podcast. And there we can talk about any of the topics that are covered on the podcast. And you can leave me any questions, show off your stuff, whatever you've made. You have any ideas to suggest for future podcasts, anything we want to talk about related to the podcast can go there. And also I have a blog, and that's entitled Crochet, Knit, and More with Suzee.blogspot.com. And there you can find the show notes for each episode, as well as I release my patterns there, and I've been putting free patterns up. I've got 2 of them up now. And also there you can find my musings, anything I want to talk about when it comes to my yarn and knit obsession. And I will be doing a new podcast. I'm adding one to my repertoire, and that's going to be about classic Hollywood. And look for that coming soon. Without any further ado, I'd like to get on to this review of this new magazine I found at my local Barnes & Nobles over the weekend. And I really want to share it with you because I thought it was well worth the money I spent on it. It's called Vogue Knitting Winter 2018-2019. This has some really nice things in it. I really liked there were 2 shawls in the back of it that I thought were well worth it just for the thing alone. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see what I'm looking at. If you would excuse me, I'm going to probably get a little glare for my eyes, but doing the best we can here. All right. Now, on the cover of this, it's called The Cable Connection, Multi-Dimensional Stitchery and Rich Jewel Tones. Shawl in Love. There's 7 spectacular wraps in here. The bold and the beautiful. Big yarn, big stitches, and quick results. I like that section as well. Highland Fling, Trend Alert, Argyle. Got that in there. Plus Great Dame. Mean iconic British designer Zandra Rhodes. Now this sold here in Michigan for $7.99. It's available in Canada for $8.99. And it's got on your recommended price display until March 5th, 2019. So I'm going to try and get this up as soon as I can so you can all see about this and possibly pick it up before they aren't distributing it anymore. But this is a great magazine. Love it. It's got some really, really neat things in here. Just starting out here, this you'll have. I think this is a free pattern from Cascade Yarns. I really like this one too, and I've got this one now in my repertoire. It's called Boliviana Bulky. I guess that's the yarn, but this is called Classic Caplet, or Caplet. I thought that was really neat. That's a free pattern. You can get that from Cascade Yarns. I got that one downloaded. I went out there and got that as soon as I could. This has got some really nice things in it. Let's see what I can find here in terms of, to do this kind of quickly so I'm not boring you to tears. It's talking about the hottest trend right now, which is your chunky yarn. And I've got a bunch of that I don't know what to do with. And anyway, here's that. And they've got a little article about that. I'm going to get my chunky yarn out and start using it, but I'll get into that section here momentarily. But this is a great magazine. It's got some really nice things in it. I know I've said that. I keep repeating myself, but this is a good one. So don't pass this one up. I usually look at the magazines and yeah, it's okay, but do I really want to spend $7.99 on that? I can find the same darn thing on Ravelry for free. So anyway, this one is well worth the investment. got some really nice stuff. And articles in here, too, about their knitting destinations, you know, for the knitting retreats and whatnot. Article in here, How to Care for Your Wool. And it talks about the legendary fashion icon Dame Xander Rhodes on her life and design. Quite interesting. And it's got some of her designs in here as well. This is one of her sweaters that they have featured in the Vogue. This is called Swirling Jacket. What's the name of this? I guess it's just called Swirling Jacket. Now they've named that right. That's nice. It's kind of like zebra. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a zebra, but I like it. And it talks about your fibers, you know. And it's got, you know, the thing like all the magazines they have in it, and, you know, different things, you know, they can sell you, other designers and whatnot. But it has quite a section in here on cabling. Here's one of the things there. Here's another cabled item. Now, all the patterns for these are included in this magazine, which I thought was great. Here's some more examples of the cabling. Love that color. Love that teal. And there's kind of a, I don't know if you call it a cable. It's more of a, maybe kind of a window pane type pattern. But anyway, it's neat. I like it. And here's another example of the cabling, kind of in a trim. Here's another, like a cardigan with cabling. Kind of reminiscent of the sweaters I used to wear when I was a little kid. Talking a while ago. Okay. It's called One Color Dressing, that section. Yeah, here we go. You can see I have a cape, poncho type thing. Really nice. And here's the rest of the other ones that they feature, the patterns that they feature in here. I really like these. They're all really, 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 very nice. I get this around here. Sorry about that. I'm trying to keep this from giving the glare on this page. There we go. That's better. It's got the different things, different patterns here. And kind of a close-up of that. But anyway, this is a marvelous magazine. Here's the Highland Fling, and they're talking about Argyle and what they mean by that. So, for the younger folks that are not familiar with Argyle, that's Argyle. Kind of a larger version of it, but that is Argyle. And apparently it's coming back. So, hey. And here's it's called Artisanal Hues, if I'm really butchering that, but it's a shawl. I really like that one too. I thought that was really neat. Made out of the different triangular designs. I think that might be one of those knit as you go type things. Put this in, okay. Each hexagon is built using 3 eyelet diamond motifs and then sewn together into 4 tiers. Mattress stitch is used in seaming to avoid any gaps between the motifs. So they work separately, then sewn together in rows. I thought that was pretty neat. I like that. I like the play of color there and how that kind of builds together. This is the chunky. Now this is a little bit much. But hey, if you like it, that's great. That would work out pretty fast. And I've seen designs like this in older books that I have. Apparently it's coming back. This is something probably from the 60s. I've seen that before. Sorry about that. I've seen that before in designs. Some of the older classic books that I have from the mid to late 60s. It basically is an updated version of that, but was taken right from that. But I like this dress in there, and I thought I might just make a variation of that, just make it a little bit shorter and make like a tank top out of it. But it's a thick, chunky yarn. That would work up pretty quickly. And that's from Molly Poling. That's the designer on that one. And this is Jane Yu. I like her use of color. And what that is looks like a sweater. It's combination sweater. Opposite, fight the cold in style with used bright striped pullover and scarf. Knit seamlessly in sugar bushes yarn, appropriately named Chill. The raglan sweater is knit top down in wide stockinette stripes with rib borders. The scarf echoes the color striping and is ribbed throughout for extra coziness. So those are separate pieces. But I do like her color combinations there, the color use, it's great. And this is a shawl that Jacob Seifert, that's his shawl there. That's neat too. You wouldn't want, you wouldn't have to do it as large as that if you didn't want to. You can always modify these things. But I thought that was a nice shawl. This is the shawl. This is what I basically bought this magazine for, is this one here. Isn't that neat? Love the use of the lace in there and the color. And that's called Light and Shadows, a one-off shade, a pattern you'll return to again and again. And it's called Take a Closer Look. 4 patterns, undulating waves, lace, slip, rib, stitch, rib, Bargello, slip, stitch, fade, and slip, stitch, fade band play out over hand-painted canvas. I love that fabric. Isn't that neat? You can see that where it'll come in. It is great. This is why I bought this to begin with. I thought this was really cool. And then we've got knitting on the bright side. Kind of a long sleeve shrug type thing. I don't particularly care for that color, but I could see that maybe worked up in a teal. Or maybe, some other color besides. I'm not really into mustard. Isn't my thing. But, hey, if you like that color, that's great. But to me, I would probably go more with a teal or a pastel of some sort. That would look better on me. But anyway, that is called On the Bright Side. It's a Hyla cardigan, Hylla. Hyla cardigan is worked sideways in a rectangle using a textured stitch pattern. Stitches are bound off in the center, and the live stitches at either side are joined. Okay, I won't go into a lot of that. But anyway, I thought that was a really neat design. I'm going to have to be at least 100 to make everything I want to make, so it is what it is. Okay, this is called Design for Life, and it's by Jacqueline Van Dillen. And this is another reason why I bought this magazine. It's I guess they're calling it a shawl, and it starts from point to point. Isn't that neat? I love that yarn. I might have to invest in, I don't usually buy the expensive yarn, but I like this. I might have to invest in that to make that shawl. But I thought that was really, really nice. And I think, what kind of yarn are they using in this? Let's see. Okay, Biscotte Yarns. Bissac shows off the 3 pattern stitches. Okay, so it's from Biscotte, or Biscotte. Biscotte yarn. Sorry if I'm butchering the name of that. It's called Bissac. Shows off the 3 pattern stitches. So that's the yarn manufacturer for that. But that is the patterns in that Vogue Knitting Winter 2018-19. Great magazine. If you can still find it in your at your bookseller, get it. It's well worth the investment. I paid $7.99 US for it. It's $8.99 in Canada. And you'll be glad you got it. This is a great magazine. And also, too, I thought I might do a vintage review to go along with this before I sign off. So hang on just a moment, and I'm going to get that vintage book and review that with you as well. Well, I kind of lied to you. This really isn't a vintage book. It is something I picked up at Ollie's not too long ago, maybe about a year ago. It's called Family Friendly Knits. And it was written by Courtney Spainhower. It's a really good book. I paid $2.99 for it at Ollie's. And originally sold for $22.99 here in the United States and $25.50 in Canada. I would, if you can find this book, I think my Ollie's had it up until maybe a couple months ago. If you got an Ollie's by you might still be able to snag a copy of this. If you can, pick it up. It's well worth it. It's got a lot of nice things in it. A couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. I like the color work in here. If you're learning how to do color work like I am, this is one thing I haven't really dipped my toe in a lot. Been a little bit hesitant to do that. This does talk quite a bit about color work and showing you how to do that and different lace type things. But I'm just going to give you a sneak peek of what's in here. Kind of a lace top pullover, kind of a vest sweater. Thought was kind of neat. And it's called Summer Lace Pullover. That's what I would have called it too. This is for the little ones if you got grandchildren or children to knit for, or nieces, nephews, whatever. It's called the Grain Hood. Or you could probably make it a little bit bigger and make it for an adult. I thought that was kind of neat too. It's got some textured stitches in it. Here's the back. Well, I'm going to cover that up so you can't see the charting, but there's the back of it here. So I said, I got to live to be 100 to make everything I want to make. Got men's pullover in here too, which you don't normally see. You don't see a lot of stuff from men to knit for them. It's usually, you know, kids or grandkids or whatever. I'll put this up here where you can't see it. Here we go. Right there. Sorry about that. It's the one here. And that's called Lindy Yoke Pullover. Here's the back of that man's sweater. There's a shawl in here too I really liked. This was neat too. I don't know if I'd ever make it or not. It's called a shawl cardigan. And you can see how the back of it's put together. It's really nice. I love that panel back there. You can see that or not. I'm trying to get it up there where you can see it. Nice, nice. There's the front of it. Nice cardigan. And you've got must-have mitts. Those are nice too. I like the fact that they've got a little bit of variation on it. There is some cabling instead of just a plain mitt. Here's a... cover that up so you can't see the chart on it, but here's a picture of the mitts. More close up. Here's an example of some of the color work that's in here. It's called the Haley Yoke Cardigan. It's very reminiscent to the type of sweaters that they had when I was a little kid, back in the 60s. They've come back. I wouldn't mind trying that one. And it's got all your charting in here on how to do this. This is the reason why I bought this book. It's called The Dart Shawl. I thought that was really, really creative. I just like the way it looks. I like the textures in it, and I like the stitching in it. I really like how they put that stuff together. Got eyelets, all sorts of things in there. I just thought it was very creative use of stitches. That's kind of a different shape shawl too. It's kind of that arrow shape that was popular there a couple years ago. She's, if I can get this around where you can't see it. Anyway, get it around where you, no. See if I can get it around where you can't see the print. That's the shape of it. kind of that arrow, bent arrow shape. It was real popular there a couple years ago. Comes to shawls. Anyway, I recommend getting this book if you can find it. Again, it's called Family Friendly Knits by Courtney Spainhower. And this was published by Interweave, 2015. Really had to look for that. 2015 is the copyrighted. It's got another yoke sweater for children. Color work cowl in here too. See that? And here's some color work hats too. And here's a poncho that's kind of unusually shaped too. I like that. It's a little less long in the front than it is in the back. Kind of a different shaped poncho. But all of these have very ornate, I shouldn't say ornate, but they have nice stitch patterns used in here throughout. So that's kind of a nice thing too, to have that in there. Instead of just plain stockinette. It gets a little boring after a while. Oh, here's another Gansey. Here's a Gansey jacket for men. Or a woman could wear the same thing too if you want to just change the colors up a little bit. That's kind of nice too. I like that. See what the back of it looks like. There's the back of it. And I got socks in here. I won't show those to you. They're not really, they're okay, but really not anything to write home about. But anyway, this is a really nice book. I don't know why it didn't sell that well. Maybe they had, I don't know, maybe they had it a little bit overpriced, but it goes into detail on how to do I-cord, picking up your stitches. There's quite a little technical section in the back of this, but I would recommend getting this book if you can find it. Again, it's called Family Friendly Knits by Courtney Spainhower, and that was written by Interweave, or published by Interweave, and there's a picture of Courtney on the back. Courtney did an excellent job putting that together. I said I got it at Ollie's Bargain Outlet for $2.99 US. It was $22.99 when it was originally published in the United States and $25.50 in Canada. So if you can find this book, pick it up. It's well worth your time. And it goes along with my idea of affordable crafting. So anyway, that's it for this particular little podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you can join me next time for another episode of Crochet, Knit, and More with Suzee. And if you're brand new, thanks for stopping by. If you're a return viewer, thanks again for checking me out. And if you would, please send me a like below, any comments that you have, any future topics you'd like me to cover, or just anything you want to let me know. I'd appreciate it. What are you working on right now? What's your weather been like? Anything you'd like to share with me. And anyway, that's it for right now. Again, thanks so much for coming along. I appreciate it. Hit a like below if you liked the video, and please subscribe. Until next time, happy crafting. Goodbye for now.